So Dan Glazer of Marsh McLennan has been coming for 9 years. You have him beat. You have been coming to Davos for 30 years.
Since the late 80s, I think it was.
He's saying that the mood this year is the best he's seen it ever, because we're no longer talking about crisis. We're now talking about growth.
Some people compare the mood this year to 2006.
Which was the last year before.
Over-optimistic. And Davos is not the greatest forecaster of trends. Didn't get Lehman right, the subprime crisis right. So that may be, a dangerous assumption. We'll see. We'll see.
But do you agree that the mood here is?
Oh yeah. I mean, synchronous growth, Goldilocks. Not too hot, not too cold. I think the big issue is whether the growth in the U.S. economy is strong, and we're 3 to 4% worldwide. Whether the growth in the U.S. economy triggers inflation, and then that in turn triggers some central bank action to move interest rates up faster than people are anticipating. And I think that's the risk, whether that happens in 2018 or 2019, whenever. And clearly the Trump tax plan, which has now been implemented, was more than the markets expected.
Right.
They're expecting 25% rather than 21%. It's, as I think Warren Buffett said on your program, Squawk Box, effectively a 40% hike in after-tax profits. So this is really having, I think, a dramatic effect on confidence. And the U.S. economy is, what, 20 trillion out of 72 trillion worldwide. So it's the world's biggest economy. And you've put America first, America does well.
Well, so you brought up America first. The other big topic here is, of course, President Trump is coming. He arrives tomorrow, big speech on Friday.
Yes.
How's he going to go over with this crowd, which you know so well?
Well, it depends on what he says, I guess. I mean, I'm expecting a speech similar to what I heard. I was in the room at the UN General Assembly, and I thought that was actually it was a tough speech, but it was combative speech, but it was a good speech. It had some balance to it as well in terms of dealing with the political issues, particularly North Korea, dealing with the political issues at that time that we faced. Now, North Korea seems, we're seeing at the IOC and the games in Pyeongchang, a totally different attitude, and sport, I think, is reflective of politics. You're seeing a united flag and a united team. So quite interesting.
Has President Trump's foreign policy worked?
Well, we're yet to see that. I mean, it is clearly more divisive, and you ask whether it would resonate, a more divisive policy would resonate in amongst the elites of Davos, who are committed to globalization. But as Klaus Schwab is trying to point out through the fourth industrial revolution, the 2 books he's now published on that, and through Davos itself, we are dealing with a fractured world, and it's a question about how we bring it together for the benefit of everybody, not for the benefit of the 1%.
So if we were to look back several years, you could say, okay, we've been worried about the economy, but everybody was excited about what technology was doing for the world.
Right.
Now we're at the point where we're talking about techlash.
Well,
and whether or not technology is bad.
Well, the lash is about privacy. Do I have my privacy if I'm a consumer? And secondly, do I have my job? I mean, that's a big issue as to whether jobs are going to be created by new technology, stay the same or less. I mean, Amazon, we saw a humanless supermarket just a couple of days ago. It didn't work perfectly, but it's just the first time that they've trialed it.
But do I read correctly? You want regulation on this?
I didn't say I wanted regulation. I said there are 7 companies, if you include the 2 Chinese companies, Alibaba and Tencent, who are all around half a trillion in market cap or more, going up to about 800 trillion. And the big question is, who's going to be the first $1 trillion?
Right.
And maybe Saudi Aramco will be the first $1 trillion company. In that, given those 7 sisters, and there are some similarities to energy, and Jeff Bezos being John D. Rockefeller.
Jeff Bezos is John D. Rockefeller.
Well, I remember one of our clients a couple of years ago said to Jeff Bezos, "You will be the John D. Rockefeller of the 21st century."
How do you think you felt about that?
I don't know. I wasn't there at the time. But I made the point. So,
but it doesn't feel like a compliment. It doesn't sound like a compliment.
Well, I mean, here's the world's richest man, and Amazon is an incredibly successful company and is now, we talk about, or people talk about, a duopoly between Google and Facebook. I think you did in your lead-in, 75% of digital advertising. Digital advertising is 30% of the world advertising market. So they control between them something, let's say 22, 23% of the world advertising. That's a very significant share. Amazon's coming over the hill. It has an advertising platform. It has a search platform through Alexa. 55% of product searches originate from Amazon already. So Amazon is becoming a very powerful company. And what you hear here amongst sort of governments is a growing concern about the power of these companies. You take them as a whole, there's certainly about 4 trillion of market cap there, which is extremely large. So this is sort of reminiscent of the sort of talk that there has been historically in industries where there have been dominant players.
Story in the Journal about the price war going on in consumer products, who are the biggest advertisers.
Yes,
supposed to be
packaged goods. It's about 30%
right?
of the industry, 30% of our revenues. Yeah,
I read that and I thought maybe that's good for your company because they're going to need to advertise more in order to try to retain market share. But
well,
no.
if you put the two things we've been talking about, technology and direct-to-consumer, Amazon, Alexa, Genie, Echo, Genie being Alibaba's entrance to voice-activated technology. You put those two things together, investment in brands become more important. I mean, cutting prices is not necessarily the way that you build long-term market share. What you have to do is obviously be price competitive, but you have to innovate and you have to invest in brand. And the problem in our industry, I think, is that marketing investment has not been regarded as an investment. It's been regarded as being a cost. And that's where we have to shift. So the focus has to be shifted away from costs to the top line, because way companies will be successful is innovating with new products which are attractive to the consumer and growing their top line.
Certainly.
Thank you, Michelle.
So good to have you on.
Good to be
here.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.